everybody, it is Romania Black, and this is probably the most impromptu video I've ever done, but it's 10:30 at night, and I need to talk about something with you all. I need to talk about something now that it's happened, now that I have finally seen back-to-back both the new 2025 Superman and the 2022 The Batman. We need to talk about something, and that something is SuperBat. So this is going to be a very impromptu video essay. I don't have a script. I just have my thoughts that have been stewing inside my brain for the last several weeks that we need to just get out here in the open and talk about with you all. So SuperBat has been nonstop taking over my feed. About a month or so ago on my channel, you can go see my YouTube channel, I do Patreon commissions of random movies from patrons, and one patron, Nicholas, commissioned Batman Under the Red Hood. Just some backstory about me. I grew up reading comic books. I primarily read Archie's Sonic the Hedgehog comic books, and so I have a plethora of knowledge about that from the 90s. But growing up, my dad was a very big DC fan. He was a huge Superman fan. My dad loves Superman, but my dad really loves Batman. Batman was like his favorite. The car, he grew up with the Adam West version, but Tim Burton, I remember seeing the Tim Burton version with my dad when I was a kid. I fell in love with it. I read the Justice League comics. I got later on into Marvel and X-Men and Spider-Man when I was in high school, but as a kid, I loved Batman and Superman. And I've always had a thing for a slightly like edgy kind of dark bad boy, and Batman was everything. He was the dark edgy bad boy. He was a detective like Sherlock Holmes, and he also didn't kill anyone. He had a personal like ethics code, and I was like, checking all the box, please, sir. And he's a millionaire. What? So he was checking all the boxes for me. So I grew up loving Batman. Superman was fine. I wasn't the biggest Superman. I was more like a Justice League person than a Superman person, but respected Christopher Reeves's version, and also Smallville. Smallville's underrated, y'all. Smallville is underrated, but I loved Batman so much. So a couple weeks ago, my dad and my brother were like, we should watch the new Superman. I was like, okay. Sat down, really enjoyed it. This is going to be like a semi-review of the 2025 Superman and the 2022 The Batman. It's going to be like a little semi-review. I'm not going to give too much away for either because I'd love for you to go watch both of them if you've not seen them. But the new Superman, we're going to get into these two movies here in a little bit because it ties to the whole point of me making this video. But the new Superman, loved it. I love this actor that plays the new Superman. He like has a little bit of Christopher Reeve in him, a little bit of Henry Cavill, a little bit, but he's his own guy. And so I'm like, a corn sweat. My friend was like, corn sweat? I was like, well, but he does a fantastic job. He is the goody two shoes, like golden retriever Superman, who also is like super hell-bent on justice and fighting the righteous fight. And we love him for it, right? So I just think he's amazing. But let me tell you, I went tonight, watched The Batman with my brother and my dad. Oh my God, I loved it. I loved it. Now, I grew up, the first rendition of Batman that I saw was Tim Burton's Batman. That one has a special place in my heart. I think that one is maybe, like, that one and the Batman are right up there with each other. They're so different. It's actually ironic because the characters in Batman Returns and the Batman, there's a little bit of overlap there, but they're done very differently, and I appreciate that. I just like Tim Burton's style of Batman and Batman Returns. Batman Returns is probably my favorite Batman because, Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman, I'm sorry, she's the best Catwoman. Hands down, no competition. Michelle Pfeiffer is Selena Kyle in my book. There have been good other renditions. The one in the Batman, she's fine, but Michelle Pfeiffer is Catwoman to me. And I do like Michael Keaton as Batman. I used to teach his movie Birdman in one of my English classes because it's such a great little, like, it's meant to be a play and be all in one take and everything. Him playing Birdman is really fun. But I love Michael Keaton as Batman. Although Robert Pattinson is my favorite Batman. As a Batman connoisseur who has seen all of the versions of Batman, Robert Pattinson's the best one. He's just so good. And we're going to get into why and how this ties into SuperBat here in a little bit. But Michael Keaton's great. George Clooney, Batman and Robin is the corniest damn thing that Joel Schumacher has brought out. But you know what? I can watch Batman and Robin and get a good laugh. It's like so bad it's good, but George Clooney is a terrible Batman. I don't mind Val Kilmer. Robert Pattinson channels a little bit of Val Kilmer in this, in like the chiseled jawline. He channels a little bit of Val Kilmer, which I appreciate. He channels a little bit of Val Kilmer, but then he does his own thing, which is great. But I don't mind. And then Christian Bale. Christian Bale is, the word is serviceable as Batman. He's fine. He's fine. Although, will say, Sweet Alfred in the Dark Knight series. I do like Andy Serkis as Alfred, though. Andy Serkis is a great Alfred. Love him. Love Andy Serkis in general. He's a good Alfred. I love Gordon in the Batman. He does a really good job. The villains, they're great. But Robert Pattinson channels so much about Batman that I love. Like, I think the one thing that you have to walk into the Batman knowing is that this Bruce Wayne is like a fresh Batman Bruce Wayne. He's not like when I think of the animated series and I think of the other Batman movies, I think of Bruce Wayne in like his 30s in those. Like he's been around the block a while. He's been Batman a while. So he's like, you know, he knows the shtick. He knows who he is. Robert Pattinson does such a good job as Batman because he's a young Batman. He's only been doing it for like 2 years. He's young. He's in his early 20s. He's naive. He has this like idea of what vengeance is. He's dark. He's edgy. He's angsty, but he's also smart and he's a detective. Like you just want to give him a damn hug the whole movie. The whole movie, you just want to wrap him in your arms and go, it'll be all right, Batman. But he somehow still manages to save the day. And you're like, And also, not only that, but I love in the Batman how realistic it is. He's just like in a hoodie with a helmet on for part of it. And he has like the eyeshadow smeared. The eyeshadow smeared over his eyes, I have seen fan art of for years now because this came out in 2022. And I was always like, what's the deal with the rata? It all makes sense now. And I love it so much. I'm like, yes, please. Everything about the Batman, the atmosphere, the score was great. Also just the realism of it. I would say I love The Dark Knight a lot. The Dark Knight of the three Christopher Nolan Batmans, The Dark Knight is the best one. I saw that one like 6 times in theaters because Heath Ledger was just so incredible in that movie. Heath Ledger stole the show. He was fantastic. I loved him in it. The Dark Knight's great, but I think what the Batman does is take the elements that were good in The Dark Knight and then cement them and really flesh it out. Like the Batman is dark. Gotham is dark. And I love that because Tim Burton's Gotham is very noir, very like gothic in a sense of like Victorian Gothic. You know, it's like a style. Whereas Gotham in the Batman is just gritty and dirty and grungy and like a big mob city. And you're like, all right, cool. So it's fun. It's a lot of fun. Now, SuperBat. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to be honest. Before I saw these 2 movies back to back, SuperBat was always a ship that I knew about, but I never really got, to be quite honest with you all, I was not a SuperBat convert until I really saw these 2 movies. And I will tell you why in this video, because it's why I'm recording it and why I want to explain to those of you who are like, I don't understand the SuperBat thing. What is this? Or for those of you that's like, it's been around forever. Why is it such a big deal now? I'm going to tell you why in this video, okay? So I went to the shipping fandom wiki for SuperBat. It is not as long as it should be. It's actually pretty short. I was like, what? How is this? But yeah, I like when it says canonical and it's like it's fanon. Well, you just keep telling yourself that, internet. But yeah, so basically the Clark to Bruce quotation they have at the start of this page is we fit each other like hand and glove. And I'm like, So basically, the very first kind of moment was in this comic series World Finest, where Bruce and Clark team up. And I absolutely love this panel of them where it says we fit each other like hand and glove. And then it says they held the grip for a long time. As bros do. And then there have been moments throughout the series of Batman and Superman where they have teamed up together and they've worked together, and a lot of it is played off as kind of just them having a bromance and being bro friends, and like, yeah, we're both working together, isn't this funny? And then there's parts in the DCAU where it's like, in World's Finest, Bruce asks Lois about Superman, and Lois is kind of like the in-between between both of them, which apparently Batman, Superman, and Lois Lane are like a throuple. Would be down for that. That'd be fun. I let them be bisexual icons. I'm all about it. It's Bi Awareness Month, if you didn't notice. Which, if you watch the Batman, there's some lovely bi awareness in that movie. Was seeing the Vision, so I just love it. But there have been, in the DC AMU, in Young Justice, there's been a couple times where Bruce and Clark have teamed up, but not that many in the actual comic series as you would think. But it only makes sense anytime you have like two superheroes or like two of the main superheroes. It's like Sasuke and Naruto. Of course you're going to ship them together, so Batman and Superman, it makes sense. And on the surface, on paper, the ships build themselves. You have Batman, the billionaire's son who grew up without a family in this dark, grungy world and became this vigilante of justice. You have Superman, who is like a wholesome farm boy who is raised up in the farmlands by two really loving parents who are actually his foster parents, but they're his real parents, and he moves to the big city and gets a reporting job, and he's this innocent beacon of hope in this city that just, is just basically the two cities are New York and Chicago. That's how I always viewed them as a kid. I was like, Metropolis always seemed like New York. Chicago always seemed like Gotham. That's how I viewed it as a kid growing up. I don't know if that's the actual inspiration, but that's how I always viewed it. And so the funny thing is, like, the ship writes itself. You have farm boy raised by loving foster parents. You have orphaned billionaire son with all the tech and everything, and then they just they are foils for each other. It seems like it makes sense. But I'll be honest with you all, up until I watched the new Superman and the Batman, I did not see the Vision. I got it, and I will never, if you know my channel, you will know that Romania does not ship shame. We don't ship shame here. And so I was like, okay, SuperBat, yeah. But I'd always thought of, Lois and Superman. I loved them as a ship. I always thought they were a great ship. And then with Batman and Catwoman were always just kind of like a fling. I never really shipped Batman with anybody really. I mean, the Joker was always out there as like a could-be ship, but then there was him and Harley Quinn. So I never really shipped Batman with too many people. I was just like, he has his harem of supervillains that are trying to get with Batman secretly. And it was just, but every time people would bring up SuperBat in previous renditions, I just could not see the Vision. Like Ben Affleck and Henry Cavill, I just didn't get it. I was like, oh yeah, they're bros, sure, but they didn't gel. They didn't have the chemistry that you would imagine. And I just was like, oh, okay, no. I always thought like Batman, I almost wanted Batman to go off with Wonder Woman. I always thought in the like Batman versus Superman movies, I was like, Batman and Diana, they could actually be pretty cool together. I'm all kind of in support of that. So that's how I viewed that one. And even in the other renditions, I just never saw the opportunity to ship them together. But boy howdy, there is just something about Cornsweet and Pattinson that the way that they do the renditions of each of those characters with you have Cornsweet being Superman as this angelic being who is so innocent, but also kind of like, he's a little angsty though himself too. They're both young. They're both young renditions. They're both getting to know their roles and their place in the world. And you have this Clark Kent that is so like gung-ho about justice, but he's kind of naive and he's learning the ropes still and figuring out the way to navigate the social angle of it all. And he's just an innocent damn golden retriever that you just want to give a pie to. And then you have Robert Pattinson's Batman, who he needs a hug from Clark Kent. And I was like, I watched the Batman the whole time I was sitting there going, Cornsweet's Clark Kent could give him the biggest hug, and I would really love that. So the chemistry that is so potential between the two of them Robert Pattinson's Batman is so brooding, and he's brooding, but he's a young brooding, so it's like justified. It's not like a lot of times you think of Batman, he's kind of like brooding and dark, but you're in your like late 30s, dude. And so you kind of have that vibe to it. With Pattinson, it makes sense and it's justified, and he's kind of like Superman in the 2025 version, where he's just learning the ropes of being a superhero as well, and how to navigate the social circles as well. Only he's Bruce Wayne instead of a reporter. And so they both have personas that they're trying to be, while also being this vigilante of justice, but they're both young and kind of naive and have some angst to their backstory, but their personalities are so different. I'm just like, just watching the Batman and watching the new Superman movie, the whole time I was sitting there going, oh my God, I know why people want to put them on screen together, because it would just be so good. Now, to be fair, I do think that I cannot picture Pattinson's Batman in the superhero world that we saw in the 2025 movie. I can't see that. I feel like Robert Pattinson would walk in and go, like, and go back into the shadows. I can't picture it. And I think he would look at him and Lex Luthor showing up at a banquet together, and Lex Luthor's like, hey, and Batman's like, hey. Like, I can't see the Lex Luthor of Superman's world interacting with Bruce Wayne and it not just being like really awkward. So I cannot see that. However, I can see the 2025 Superman showing up in the Batman world and being the fish out of water, but he has superhuman powers, so he's like a strong fish out of water. And this Batman just being like, okay, what? And just, the vision. It will probably never happen because they're very different realities, and people have already said in the comments everywhere, they're like, well, they're two different worlds. They're not the same. The Batman is not part of the DC and universe and all this. And I'm like, yeah, semantics. So I would just, so yeah, this is all to say, I just wanted to come on here and gush for about 20 minutes about the Batman and Superman, and that I see the SuperBat Vision. I'm going to be posting anytime I find any SuperBat fan art. It's going on my Patreon. I absolutely love both of those movies. They're so good. I would say I loved both of them. Deal with very modern topics. You have the concept of immigration that's talked about a lot in the new Superman, which makes sense because Superman's an alien, literally. Then you have in the Batman talk about like reform and the wealthy, dealing up with corruption and the mob, and kind of the idea of, I love in the Batman, one of the big themes is the idea of responsibility and ownership. And there's a really nice tie-in through thread from the beginning to end where Bruce Wayne at the beginning is like, I'm doing vigilante justice. I don't have time to do taxes, Alfred. And then that all comes back around, and that maybe, yeah, you should have been paying attention to some things because they got out of hand and led to you being more involved than you probably could have been originally. So it just, it's so good. If you've not seen the Batman, go see it. It's 3 hours long. Buckle in. It's worth it. It's so good. It's dark as shit, but it's great. The new Superman movie, really enjoyed it. The new Superman movie, again, this is why Robert Pattinson's Batman could not be in the new Superman movie. The new Superman movie is by Tim Gunn. It feels Tim Gunn, if you've seen Guardians of the Galaxy, it feels like a superhero Marvel-esque movie. Superman does. The Batman does not. The Batman doesn't even feel like a superhero movie. It just feels like a detective that wears a superhero-like costume. It feels very indie, and I like that about it. So, but they're both so good. But yeah, I'm going to be going down the rabbit hole a lot with SuperBat from here to come. If you are interested, I will say, if you are a SuperBat connoisseur, especially they're calling it the Battinson SuperBat, if you're a fan of those, Umiko-chan art, at Umiko-chan art on Twitter, Blue Sky, whatever, their artwork of SuperBat is just, they do all the renditions. They don't just do the Battinson one. They do all the versions, and the feasting you will do. The feasting you will do. I was just like, hum, num, 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 num. So but yeah, so if you're just randomly watching this crazy feral woman talk about Batman and Superman, hi, I'm Romania Black. I react to anime and manga and donghua, but I'm here talking about SuperBat because I just have fell in love with it, and that's where I'm at. And it's like almost 11 o'clock at night. I just got home. I sat down. I'm like, I need to get this off my chest now and put it out here for you all to see. And just, oh my God, the vision. I see the vision. I just, It's so damn good. And also, on top of everything, they're going to have the sequel to the Batman and the new Superman movie both come out in 2027. This is biblical greed. This is the greed they talked about in the Bible. The fan fiction writers are cracking their knuckles, being like, oh, and getting all built up, y'all. Yes. Yes, they are. Yeah. I think it's interesting that the Batman's getting a sequel of like 5 years later, whereas Superman's 2 years later. But if the timelines sync up, they're not in the same universe. I know this. You know this. But we're getting fodder. And we're going to be able to do so much with it. So, yeah, y'all, let me know what you thought of the Batman and the new Superman down below. I enjoyed both of them immensely. Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor. Oh, you've come so far since Mad Max. You've come so far since Warm Bodies. But he does a really good job as Lex Luthor. He plays the smarmy billionaire perfectly, right? I just love the concept of you have Lex Luthor as a billionaire philanthropist, and then you look over to Robert Pattinson's Bruce Wayne, and he looks like a drowned puppy. And he's just sitting there like with the eyeliner just going everywhere. I loved in the movie, even though after he scrubbed his eyes so much, there was still like the little black eyeliner there. Bless him. Bless him. I want to put Robert Pattinson's Batman in my pocket and go around the world with him and hug him every second because he deserves it. So, yes. Damn. So, ask me your SuperBat questions down below, what you think I think about them, and I'll talk about those. But, oh my God. So inspired. Both those movies are great. Awesome way to start out the month. I'm so here for it. I hope you all have a wonderful week. Please stay safe. Take care. And yeah, I'll be over on my channel doing a bunch of reactions to a bunch of anime and manga that y'all can check out there. And I'll see you all there real soon. Bye.